Welcome to Taste Reviews Drink Edition. This is episode 6. I'm your host, Derek Silver, and today we have a new one. Clyde Mays Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Now, you know how we do it. We get right to the description. We're going to have a tasting, and then we're going to finish with the tasting review. So, on to the description. Clyde Mays Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It's a nice bottle. Nice, masculine, simple bottle. It's a style of bottle that is used for several bourbon whiskeys that I've seen before. The label, nice label, very descriptive. Y'all know how I like descriptive labels. So the label has a few pictures on it from Clyde Mays. Has this, the year of the bourbon whiskey, um, the signature of the master distiller, Clyde May. It is 92 proof, 46% alcohol volume, and it has a brief description on the bottle. So let me get into that. It says Clyde May was a moonshiner by trade, but a craftsman by heart. He made his famous whiskey in a hand-built copper still with fresh Alabama spring water and the finest local ingredients. The man was locked up for his passion, 8 months in the federal penitentiary. Yet he started up those copper stills the day he got out. This straight bourbon honors Clyde's dedication to the craft. We use simple ingredients and a patient aging process to produce a fine, easy drinking spirit. Like Clyde's own moonshine, it's a whiskey with integrity, straightforward, port sitting, rocking chair bourbon, and this time is perfectly legal. Nice little description to give some history of it. Yeah, so it's a nice bottle. Even it has pictures around the top of the bottle. So it's a nice bottle, nice label. Give some honoring the history of Clyde Mays on the bottle. Has a nice color to it. I'll say like a bronze color. I know the website says something different, but I see bronze. So speaking of the website, let's go to their description, further description of Clyde Mays Straight Bourbon Whiskey. So it actually is an award-winning whiskey. 94 points in the 2018 Wine Enthusiast. It won gold at the New York World Wine and Spirits Competition, and it received a 93 in 2016 Ultimate Spirits Challenge. It says is aged 4 to 5 years in new 53-gallon oak barrels and is non-chill filtered. You get dried orchid fruits on the nose and a spice on the palate. A full and smooth choice, best either on the rocks or in a Mays Manhattan. So let's look at the flavor profile from their website. It says appearance, rich crimson. Nose, soft and sweet on the nose with aromas of brown sugar, baked apricot, wild strawberry, and nutmeg. Palate, wonderfully soft with complex aromas of barrel spice, fruit, and oiled leather. Finish is long and delicious. Oiled leather. Sounds very inviting. So that was the description and the flavor profile from ClydeMays.com. And that information will be in the bottom of the video. So we got the descriptions out the way. So you know what the best part is now. Time to taste. Time to taste. So now let's get on to the tasting. Now time for the tasting. The best part of the show. As you can see, I was a little heavy-handed on the pour, but hey, it's all good. So I got my two tumblers on the outside and my nosing glass. So let's keep uh, note of the flavor profile from the website. So it says nose, soft and sweet on the nose with aromas of brown sugar, baked apricot, wild strawberry, and nutmeg. So we're going to start with the nosing glass. Remember, don't put your nose too close to the nosing glass when you getting a good smell of it. I definitely can smell. It's definitely soft, sweet, smells sweet. It definitely has a fruity smell to it. Very good smell to it. So let's have a taste. The body of it is oily. Um, it definitely sits on the glass when you move it around. It has an oily body to it. The taste isn't strong at all. Has a little, definitely has a little spice to it, but nothing overwhelming or very strong. Um, it does have a long finish, and with that long finish, that's what makes the spice taste surprising, because usually I've had some whiskeys where the finish was very long and it had a spice taste to it, and it you will feel it. But this one is real smooth. Definitely very smooth. Definitely very smooth. Um, it's definitely sweet. And I guess when they're talking about the oiled leather, that's pretty much coming from the body of it, because I don't know what the hell old leather tastes like, for one. But the body of it is very oily, so maybe that's where they getting that description from, the oiled leather. So I can see that, because it's definitely, it kind of coats your palate. So I guess that's where the old leather description comes from. It coats your palate. Um, that's what makes it so smooth. Yeah, it's good from the nose and glass. It's good. I had to finish that little piece off. So let me cleanse my palate, and we're gonna move along. Now we're gonna move along to the tumbler with ice on the rocks. So they say it's good on the rocks. So we're gonna find out. In the tumbler with the ice, the smell isn't as strong. Okay. It definitely tastes good on the rocks. Um, it's not as flavorful on the rocks as it is from the nosing glass, but it's still good. You can still taste it. It definitely still has a sweet taste to it. Um, You can taste more of the spice with it on the rocks, and the finish isn't as long. The finish with the ice is much more shorter. I would say probably a medium long. No, I would say the finish with the ice is short. The finish is short. It's not as oily, but it still tastes good. But I probably would prefer it neat. So let me cleanse my palate and we're gonna move on to the next tumbler. Now this time I'm gonna give it a little splash of water. The smell is not as strong, but it's stronger than the tumbler with ice. Still has a fruity smell to it. Definitely a sweet smell. Excuse me, the burp. That's when you know it's good right there. At least for me. Okay. With the splash of water, the body is still oily. I'm saying it now. It's still just sitting there. It's slowly going down the tumbler. But the taste is is heightened. The fruity taste is heightened with the water. I taste more of the fruity notes as opposed to the spice with the splash of water. And the finish is medium long. It sits with you, but it's not a strong finish. It's a smoother finish. This is a very smooth whiskey. Very smooth whiskey. And with the splash of water, you just get more of the fruity notes. And the finish is medium long. The body is still oily, so it still sits on your palate like that oiled leather. I don't taste as much spice, but let me have one more taste. Okay. That second taste, I was able to taste the spice, but it still has more of a sweet taste to it, more of a fruity taste to it. But it's more like it's more so you'll taste the spice notes when you let it sit on your tongue, as opposed to just sipping it or drinking it and letting it go down. It's a very good whiskey. I definitely would prefer having this whiskey neat, neat or with a splash of water. Um, with ice or on the rocks, it's still good, but it's much more flavorful, much more enjoyable with it being neat or with a splash of water. So now we finished the tasting and we're going to move along to the tasting review. So, tasting review for Clyde made straight bourbon whiskey. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. It's a very good whiskey. Very good whiskey. And it's a very good whiskey at the price point. I paid $36 for this bottle, this fifth. So this is a very good whiskey. I definitely enjoyed it, and it's funny because when I was shopping for whiskeys for this episode, this was the last bottle that I picked up. I had several of them in my hands, and I was trying to decide which one I was going to get. So I'm glad I chose this one. And what made me choose it was actually the whole presentation of it, the bottle, the style of the bottle, the label. The label made me want to know more about the whiskey because of how descriptive it was and how they had the history of it on the bottle. So, what am I going to give this whiskey? This is a tough one because it was very good. And so far, the whiskeys that we've had on Taste Reviews, Drink Edition, um, they all were good. Um, they had different levels to them, and this one was at the top. This one was definitely at the top. So, um, out of five tastes, burp number two. So this was a good whiskey. This whiskey got me burping. That means I enjoyed it. Trust me, that means I enjoyed it if I'm burping off of it. And I actually finished the tumbler and one of the tumblers and the nosing glass after pouring very heavily. This one I will finish after the show. But yeah, I give this one out of five tastes. I give this one a 4.5 out of five tastes. Clyde Mays straight bourbon whiskey. It's a good whiskey. Um, because of the spice notes that it has, it's a perfect whiskey right now for the fall season. You can add it to some apple cider. Um, it definitely will be good for a spiced old fashioned. It will go well with any type of fall food, squash. You have it with a steak. Shoot, it will go very well. It's very good for the fall season, even for the winter time, because of its spice notes. So this one came along at the right time. We're in fall season, about to go into winter in a few months. So Clyde Mays straight bourbon whiskey is a great pick for the fall and winter months. So check this one out. 4.5 out of five tastes. It is definitely recommended by me. So we're gonna get out of here. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Shout out to all the people who have donated to the show. Shout out to everybody who supported the show so far. I will be back next week with a new episode and a new whiskey. Trust me, I will. So I'm your host, Dirk Silva. This is Taste Reviews, Drink Edition, and I'm out. Make sure you drink responsibly. Definitely.